Hello, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. My name is Mark Roden, and in today's video we're going to be going over the top 15 best cars that you can buy for less than $4,000. Recently we've been doing this as a new series on the channel where we do the top 15 best cars from every price range. So we did 1K first, then 2K, then 3K, now today is 4K, then 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Then we're going to do 15, 20, 25, 50, and $100,000. And the fun part about this series is that in all of these videos, every single one of these videos in this series, all 15 cars will not be there will not be a single duplicate in any one of these videos. So if you watch all the videos, you could get a ton of different cars and a ton of different options for less than whatever price it is that you want. You could stop at 7K if you have a 7K budget, or you could watch all the 10K videos if you have a 10K budget, or you could just watch the first 3 videos if you have a 3K budget. Okay. All right, without further ado, let's get right into it. But before that, media of the day is Top Gear. I mean, you probably already know what Top Gear is, but if for some reason you haven't watched Top Gear yet, please do watch it. The clips don't do it justice. Like I see all these people online, they like watch like funniest Top Gear moments clips and stuff like that. You gotta watch the whole thing. You gotta watch the whole thing because there's so many moments that are hilarious and just really good and just entertaining that don't make those clips, that people just kind of forgot about, I guess. It's a really good show. Really good show, obviously. Go watch Top Gear if you haven't already. But without further ado, let's go right into it. It is worth mentioning, in 2026, every car for less than $4,000 is probably gonna have higher mileage. Just keep that in mind. And coming in at the number 15 spot, ladies and gentlemen, the 15th best car under $4,000. It's really cool looking. Man, this car could have been one of the coolest cars of the 2000s. I'm not even joking. If it was just better. The Chevy Monte Carlo SS. Now, unfortunately, I couldn't tell you what generation of Monte Carlo this is. I know it's obviously not the first gen. It's, I don't know, maybe 4th or 5th gen. I don't know, but it's the 2000s. What's the one you see on screen now? These cars come with a 3.8 liter V6, making 200 horsepower on the dot, and it is front wheel drive. They're pretty heavy cars too, so that 200 horsepower is really not that much. And unfortunately, the fact that it comes with a V6, it's just a little bit disappointing. And it's also obviously front wheel drive. If this was a rear wheel drive, LS powered Monte Carlo with the same body, because again, it looks incredible, this would have been one of the coolest cars of the 2000s. But unfortunately, it didn't have that. But it still is a very, very cool looking car that, again, like, you could still 100% have fun with it. I mean, 200 horsepower is not anything to like laugh at. You know, that's a fun little car, but it's just not as cool as it could have been. And as y'all fellas know, if you've been watching the Mark Roden channel recently, we've been trying to make our truck guys a little bit happy. So coming in at the 14th place is going to be going to the Ford F-150 11th generation. Full-size truck for less than $4,000. You can't really beat it, but obviously any full-size truck for under $4 grand, it's going to have a lot of rot, so keep that in mind. But besides that, they're pretty damn good options. They come with a 4.6 liter V8, making 231 horsepower, and they are, of course, 4x4s, since they're full-size trucks. 231 horsepower is pretty decent for under $4,000, but obviously keep in mind it is a full-size truck. It's heavy. That's not going to be a fun 231 horsepower. So it's going to be enough horsepower to get it out of its own way. But again, it's at the end of the day, it's a truck. It's got a lot of space. It's very practical. It's pretty decently reliable and everything like that. It's just the rust that's going to get to you. So if you could find one without any rust, if you live down in Florida or whatever, you can find one of these trucks. Hey, that's awesome. But just keep an eye on that. Yeah, I've been trying to learn more and more about trucks, so if anybody has any recommendations on like some good cheap trucks out there that you guys want to leave in the comments below, I would greatly appreciate it. Like, I just found out today that you can find like a Hummer H3 for like $6 grand. That's awesome. I love the Hummer H3. Either way, 13th place, Volkswagen Passat B6. My buddy had a B5 Passat for his first car. Zach, you guys know Zach. Shout out Zach. It was a great car. The B6 comes with a 2-liter turbocharged inline-4, making 200 horsepower on the dot, and it is front-wheel drive. Pretty much the best way to describe B6, or just Passats in general, is they're bigger Golfs. They're heavier Jettas, if you want to, or whatever. This motor is the same motor they were putting in the Mark V GTIs at the time. It pretty much is the same Mark V GTI, but in a much, much bigger body. That obviously gives you a little bit more practicality and more space, but does take away from the fun aspect of it a little bit as well, since it's obviously going to be a little bit heavier with a little bit of a longer wheelbase. Coming in at 12th place is easily one of, like, in my opinion, the coolest cars on today's list under $4,000 for sure. But unfortunately, it's just really not. I want to say it's like it's a sketchy one, I guess you could say, to buy under $4,000 in the big 2.6. The Honda Civic 6th generation. Specifically, I like the coupes, but I know everyone else likes the hatchbacks. Whichever one, it doesn't really matter. They're all pretty much the same. And they come. This is the base model, by the way, not the SIs. The base models come with a 1.6 liter inline-4, making 125 horsepower, and it is front-wheel drive. That's a B series, so you can make more power out of it if you want to. And on top of that, it's obviously extremely light. 100 pounds more than a Miata is light as hell. It is front-wheel drive, but at the end of the day, it's a Honda. It's going to be reliable. You can build some power out of it if you want to. But again, unfortunately, the big 2.6, these cars are very small. I know firsthand because I bought an Integra, and they're very small space. They have no like modern interior. They're not that fast, bone stock out of the gate. And for under 4K, almost every single one of them have been molested at this point. It's damn near impossible to find a bone stock 6th gen Civic that's actually worth your money. It's a little bit sketchy, but it is still really cool. Coming in at the beautiful number 11 spot, barely missing out on the wonderful top 10 here, is going to be going to the Chrysler 300 first generation. The base model 300s, unfortunately, you are not finding no SRT8s under the big 4K, but you could very easily find a base model. And yes, they're land yachts, but they are still cool in their own regard. They come with a 3.5 liter V6 making 250 horsepower, and it is rear wheel drive. Plain and simple, for under $4,000, you can't really ask for much more horsepower than that, man. I mean, 250 horsepower, that's pretty decent. And they're rear wheel drive. All the cars we've talked about so far have not been rear wheel drive. Well, I guess the F-150 is technically rear wheel drive before you put it in 4-wheel drive, but still, this is like rear wheel drive. It's going to be fun. It has a ton of space, obviously, since it's a freaking land yacht. Yes, they weigh about the same as a Ford F450. They weigh the same amount as an SR71 Blackbird, but they could still be a lot of fun while being really luxurious. They're cool cars, is what I'm trying to say, just not the fastest. And breaking its way into the top 10 best cars for under $4,000 in 2026, in my opinion, is going to be going to the Subaru Legacy GT B5. They obviously had a lot of Legacy GTs, and pretty much every single one of the Legacy GTs, for whatever reason, flew completely under the car guys' radars, and no one talks about them anymore, which is a crime because they're kind of just WRXs. The cars come with a 2.5 liter turbocharged flat 4, making 250 horsepower, and they are all-wheel drive. That's just good. Like, yes, okay, the reason why the Legacy GTs didn't really get that much praise and they didn't really get that talked about is twofold. One, they don't really look as good as the WRXs. Like, I know it's personal opinion, but I feel like most people would agree with that statement. And two, they're heavier. And so because they're heavier, people are like, well, why buy a Legacy when I could just buy the Impreza? But this makes more power. the Impreza WRX at the time was making 225. Now, the STI, yeah, that was making more. But the WRX was making 225. This makes 250. It makes more. It's a little bit heavier, but it's a freaking awesome car. Coming in at 9th place is one of those 90s, well, actually, this is like 80s, JDM cars that, yeah, they're cheap, but once you buy them, they're just going to be an absolute nightmare. The Nissan 300ZX Z31s. The Z31s are definitely like the ugly duckling of the Z line, but they're still, in my opinion, a pretty cool sports car. Unfortunately, again, they are just so old and have so many problems now that I can't put it any higher. It's one of the coolest looking cars on today's list for sure, but again, the problems just really kill it. The car comes with a 3 liter V6 making 222 horsepower, and it is rear wheel drive. It's like notorious for being one of the biggest pain in the rectums to actually work on these cars, by the way. So if you're looking for like a car right now as your first car and you're thinking about buying a Z31, I would steer clear of that, to be honest, because they're just an absolute nightmare to work on, even for like people that know what they're doing, let alone new mechanics. They really aren't the best deal out there, but they're very cool cars. And if you are looking for a second car, or maybe even a third car for under 4K, I think it's a good option. And coming in at 8th place, these cars continue to be extremely underrated in every regard. The BMW Z3. My buddy Riley just bought a Z3. Shout out Riley. And he loves it. He loves every second. I took a ride in it, and it is literally just a more luxurious, more comfortable German Miata. That's literally the best way I could, like, that's exactly what it is. And it makes more power. The car comes with a 3 liter inline 6, making 225 horsepower, and it is rear wheel drive. That's a lot for a car that weighs this much, man. 225 horsepower is no joke. Like, a lot of the Miata guys, the NA Miatas, NV Miatas, they turbo their Miata just to get it to 230. Like 250 around there, I guess. Like, they get it, they turbo it to get it to this horsepower number. This comes stock with that. It really is such a good option, and it's mind-blowing how underrated it is. Now, it's obviously worth mentioning, it is a 2000s BMW. It's going to give you a headache a lot of the times, and that headache is not going to be cheap to fix, but when it's running, these cars are really cool. Coming in at 7th place, probably won't give you that many headaches. It's going to be reliable as hell, but it is a little old, unfortunately. That's the only real reason why it's down here. The Honda Prelude 4th generation. The 4th gen Preludes are, in my humble opinion, this is a hot take, Mark Roden hot take of the day, I think the 4th gen Preludes are the coolest generation of the Honda Prelude. Looks-wise. I mean, I know performance-wise, maybe the 3rd gen takes it because of the active aero and the 4-wheel steering, but this is a really beautiful looking car. They come with a 2.2 liter inline 4, making 135 horsepower, and they are front wheel drive. Obviously not the most horsepower on this list, but yet again, it's another Honda. It's lightweight, it doesn't need a lot of horsepower, and you can make more power out of it if you want to, while also it's very, very, very reliable. And again, I think it looks incredible. Now, under $4,000, it is very sketchy going to look at these cars. They were just not taken care of. I feel like every 4th gen Prelude I see has the most amount of paint fade I've ever seen in my life. Every single panel on the car is dented. It has a lot of rust. Take that in mind. Keep that in mind, I should say. But if you could find a clean one for under 4K, this is an awesome car. And coming in at 6th place. If you guys have been watching the Mark Roden channel recently, you know how much I've been getting a craving for one of these for whatever reason recently. The Toyota, I don't know why I said it like that. Let's rewind. Toyota 4Runner 3rd generation. Again, I don't know what it is. Maybe I'm just getting older, but for some reason, I'm starting to appreciate 4Runners more and more every single day. I love these things. They come with a 3.4-liter V6, making 183 horsepower, and they are 4x4s. They're awesome. I mean, they're freaking awesome, man. I really don't. The only reason why they're not any higher than 6th place is for, well, 2 reasons. One, it's not like the coolest car out there. Obviously, it's not gonna like break necks. It's a freaking 4Runner at the end of the day. And 2, under 4K for a 3rd gen, it is gonna be a little bit like probably gonna have like quite a bit of miles with some rust on it, like plain and simple. But if you could cough up the extra dough, I would recommend looking for a 4Runner that's worth around 7K, so you can get lower mileage with less rust. But if you can't do that, then one under 4K is still a good deal. And coming in at the beautiful number 5 spot is also a very beautiful car, in my opinion, actually. The Volkswagen GTI MK6. The fact that you could find a Mark 6 GTI under $5,000 or $4,000 in 2026 is honestly a little bit mind-blowing. Listen, I'm not trying to like bash on GTI owners in any way, but you guys' cars lose value so much worse than I think I've ever seen another car lose value. I don't know what it is about them. They do not hold value well at all. These things come with a 2-liter turbocharged inline-4, making 210 horsepower, and they are front-wheel drive. They're obviously a hatchback, so you got plenty of space. They're very practical. They're very modern. They're one of the most modern cars on today's list. These are like 2014, I'm pretty sure, is when they were making the Mark 6 GTIs. Like, that's not that long ago at all. So the interior is going to feel nice and modern and updated and everything like that. They're very reliable. They're obviously quite fast. 210 horsepower is not bad at all, and you can make more power out of it if you want to. They look good. There's literally no downside to a Mark 6 GTI. The only real downside, I guess, is for under 4K, you're going to have to get one with higher mileage. Coming in at 4th place, though, these things, I mean, man, oh man, the BMW 740iL E38s. Now, there is a slight downside to the E38s, and that is, of course, the fact that they're not the fastest cars out there because they are luxury cars. They have long wheelbases, and they're kind of land yachts, kind of like the Chrysler 300. But they still are just awesome in every regard. They come with a 4.4-liter V8, making 286 horsepower, and it is rear-wheel drive. That would be the highest horsepower on this list, but there is one more car that we haven't talked about that makes 287 horsepower, so it did get beat out by 1 horsepower. Nonetheless, this car is... It really... My buddy Matt bought one. Shout out, Matt. And it was the most comfortable thing I've ever been in. And it's a 90s car, which is insane. And before you're like, oh, it's a V8 BMW, though. It's a ticking time bomb. No, it's the same V8 they were putting in the 540i E39s, which is, like, notorious for being extremely reliable. These motors will not die. The car itself will not die. It's comfortable as hell. It looks good. It's awesome. But coming in at 3rd place is my car. That's right, ladies and gentlemen, the Acura Integra. You're gonna have to buy a base model. Obviously, you're not gonna know GSR or Type R under $4,000, but you can get an LS or a GS under the big 4K, and they're still really good cars, especially if you plan to modify them. Like, if you plan to like turbo them and make a bunch of power, I'm gonna be honest with you guys, man, I don't really see the point in buying a GSR over the LS. I'm just going to be honest. The car comes with a 1.8-liter inline-4, making 140 horsepower, and it is front-wheel drive. Not the most amount of horsepower, but it is pretty decent amount of horsepower for a 90s Honda. Like, again, it's light as hell, 100 pounds more than a Miata, and 100, like, trust me, I have my Integra's bone stock. Like, it doesn't no power additives have been added to that car, and it is a lot of fun with 140 horsepower. It's a very fun car. They're reliable as hell. Obviously, they look really good. The only downside to my Integra, and the only reason why I'm trying to sell my Integra right now, is because it is rotting out, and I'm also a kind of a bigger guy, and I'm kind of getting sick and tired of sitting in a small car, but that's the only real downsides. However, coming in at 2nd place, yes, these vehicles are still under $4,000. Yes, you have to be a little bit patient in order to find one, though, but I really think it's worth it. The Lexus LS400s. The Lexus LS400s are obviously, I mean, this was literally like, this is what beat the E38, which I was just talking 2 seconds ago about the E38 and how good I think the E38 is. This car came out and destroyed it, which is insane. The car comes with a 4-liter V8 making 270 horsepower, and it is rear-wheel drive. Performance-wise, if you're looking for like strictly performance and fun, yeah, I think the E38 is going to be the overall better option. It makes a little bit more power. It's a little bit lighter. It's just a little bit more sport-oriented as well as BMW. But like reliability-wise, which I feel like is probably what you're looking for if you're looking at an LS400 or an E38, the LS400 just beats it in every way. This thing is just it's just a tank that's comfortable as hell. You can drive over the Grand Canyon, you're not even going to notice. The suspension is so it's just such a good car. And then it's funny as hell because this LS400 is known for being like such a comfortable ride, and then people buy them and just destroy that. They just slam them on the ground, and they're like, you know what? I don't want it to be comfortable anymore. But first place, it might be my personal bias talking. I don't give a tiny rat's rectum, ladies and gentlemen. First place, the best car under $4,000 is going to be going to the Infiniti G35 sedans. You could theoretically find a coupe under $4,000 as well, but I would not recommend buying that car. It's a takeover car. The G35 sedans, however, you could very easily find these under 4K. They were very underappreciated cars. No one liked them. They didn't really care for how they looked, and because of that, you could find them under 4K. They come with a 3.5 liter V6, making 287 horsepower, and they are rear-wheel drive. This is the car I was talking about earlier. Most horsepower number on this list by 1, beating out the E38. However, this car is also a lot lighter than the E38. It's much, I wouldn't say it's much more sporty, but it's just much more, well, yeah, I guess sporty. I guess that's the best way of putting it. While also being extremely reliable and still having plenty of space. As long as you can get over the looks of the G35 sedan, which I'll admit, I'll be the first one to admit, as a matter of fact, definitely aren't the best. These cars are an insane bargain deal right now for under 4K. But, ladies and gentlemen, that is the end of today's video, going over the top 15 best cars you could buy for less than $4,000 in 2026. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel for more content just like this. Let me know what reviews I'd see in the comment section down below. Check the links in the description for any of my other social medias or any of my other YouTube channels when you have that great mumbo jumbo. And thank you guys so much for watching. Tomorrow's video is going to be the next how to build. It's going to be on the Infiniti Q50. That's what it is. The how to build the Infiniti Q50 is coming up next. Then after that, it'll obviously be the 15 cars under 5K video, and then after that, we're going to be doing another how to build. When it comes to the how to build videos, I'm going off of recommendations. For those who don't know, only recommendations, but I'm getting a lot of recommendations, which I appreciate 100%. That's awesome, and I'm happy to see that you guys are enjoying it and you want to see more videos like that. But just keep in mind that if you do leave a recommendation for the how to build videos, there is a chance I'm just not going to be able to get to it anytime soon, just because of the sheer amount of requests I've gotten. Also, there is another point to be made that I've gotten a couple of requests for cars that I have never even heard of, and so I'm like, I'm sorry, but I just feel like that's probably not a good idea to make a whole video dedicated to that as a YouTuber, because I got to think about, you know, the views and stuff like that, obviously a little bit, and so I can't just like be going and doing cars that like 2 people own, and so you got to keep that in mind as well sometimes. But nonetheless, yeah, let me know what you guys would like to see for the how to build videos. Sorry for not uploading on Friday. I pulled an all-nighter to try and fix my sleep schedule, which actually did work. I'm up right now. It's 10 a.m. I'm like getting to work right now. Like I've been up since 8 a.m. So it did work fixing my sleep schedule. But because of that, obviously, I was exhausted on Friday, and I just didn't want to do anything. So I just sat there waiting until 10 p.m. to roll around so I could finally go to sleep, and I did. Because my sleep schedule before that was horrible. People don't understand. I feel like people like look at people that are, I guess, unemployed. Technically, I'm not really unemployed because this is my job, but I don't have like a normal job, you know what I mean? And they look at people that are unemployed or whatever, and they don't sleep at a normal time. A lot of those guys sleep late into the day, and it's really bad, obviously. And so people look at that and are like, you lazy sack of crap. When in reality, I swear to God, 90% of the people that say that, if they didn't have to wake up at 8 a.m. or 6 a.m., whatever time it is you guys wake up at in the morning, you didn't have to, you would fall right into the same cycle as everyone else, because there's no reason for us to wake up at an early time, you know what I mean? So you just sleep in, and then it just gets out of hand, you know? But nonetheless, I fixed it, so we're back, hopefully, for a little while. I always fix it, and then it just falls back apart within a couple of months, but at least for a little while, I should be back to a normal sleep schedule, so yep, we're gonna lock in, baby. Lock in. Alright. Thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate it. Das Vidania, and have a nice night. But yeah, that's the reason why I didn't upload on Friday, by the way, is because of the all-nighter, so I apologize for that.